13th of October, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Shavua, Lech Lecha.
And we were on Chet. Okay, so we were doing the Rashi.
On Pasuk Ches, correct.
Okay. So the first Rashi is Vayatek Misham.
Ahaloi.
Oh, hello from his tent. Oh. Okay.
See, Rashi, let me explain what Rashi is on about. Vayatek is a hifil form, which by definition is transitive.
Okay.
Yet, there is no object mentioned in the verse. Vayatek, he removed from there to the mountain. He removed what? Doesn't say. He transferred, let's say, maybe better.
Okay.
He transferred from there to the mountain. Transferred what? So that's what Rashi says. Misham Hahara means his tent, or her tent.
Okay, so he moved his tent. Oh, hello.
Okay, that's what Rashi said.
Okay. Well, I know what happened to my screen. Okay, it doesn't matter. Next Rashi is Mikedem.
Right.
Levatel. Okay, so that is that's Mikedem from the east of Beit El. Okay, and he says Bimizracha shel Beit El. So Bimizracha, he pointed towards the east.
What it means is Mikedem lebeis el means b'mizracha shel beis el. It was to the east, on the eastern side of Beis El.
Oh, to the east. Okay. To the east side of Beit El. Okay, good. Nimtzei.
The word Mikedem means to the front of.
Oh, is that what it usually means?
Kedem is for, Ochar is behind. But since the world is traveling in an easterly direction, because that's the way the world is spinning, okay?
Right.
We're heading east. We're heading east. So therefore, that's always, the east is described as forward and the west is behind. Okay? That's what he says. And says Beis El b'ma'arovo. It comes out that Beis El, he pitched his tent, he encamped to the east of Beis El, which means forward of Beis El, which was to the east of Beis El. That means Beis El was to his west.
Ma'aravo. Okay.
Right, Nimtza Beis El b'ma'arova. But Hushanema, that's what it says. Beis El miyom. Beis El was to the west. Okay.
Oh, okay. Then the next one is Ahalo, his tent. Okay. Ahala Ketib, it's written.
Her tent.
Her tent. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see that. Yeah, the dot and the hay. Okay, so her tent. B'techila nata. At first, nata.
He notal as oil ishtoi.
He set
He
up
set
his
up, he set up his wife's tent.
first.
Okay.
Okay.
And afterwards his own.
And afterwards his own. Okay.
Okay.
Very.
By the way, it's interesting. Maybe this point to mention. What is how should we say? What's the hashkafa, the Torah hashkafa on? I mean, I know it's certainly in England. I don't know if in America, Mr. It's also there's a saying, "Ladies first."
Yeah, we say that too.
Right? Ladies first. But let's understand, is that a correct hashkafa or not a correct hashkafa? So here, obviously, you see that there is an idea of putting ladies first. He first set up his wife's tent, and then and then afterwards his own. On the other hand, the Torah says quite specifically, clearly, the Chazal say, it's also for a man to walk behind a woman, even his own wife. As we find, it says, the Gemara asks that it says that Vayelech Monoach acharei ishtoi, that Monoach walked up behind his wife. So which the Chazal have the two different opinions. One say for that reason he was considered an Am Haaretz, somebody lacking knowledge, because he didn't know that the rule is a man should not walk even behind his wife. On the other hand, there's another opinion, means no, he was following the advice of his wife. Acharei ishtoi doesn't mean he actually physically walked behind his wife, but he was following his wife's advice to go to a certain place. Anyway, what we see from there is obviously the Rambam writes the Lashon exactly, I'm just trying to remember now. Yeah, the Rambam writes a person should love his wife like he loves himself. And he should honor his wife even more than he honors himself. So they're basically taking it from this Rambam is as follows. That in situations, obviously, that a person has equal situation whether to do something for himself or do something for his wife, then the wife comes first. This way he is honoring his wife more than he honors himself. Let's say an example over here. They'd been traveling, both of them, and both of them needed to rest. And now, so both their tents needed to be put up in order they should have a place to rest now and to be settled. So Avram said, my obligation first is to put up my wife's tent first, and then afterwards I'll worry about my own tent, because I have to honor my wife. But it's actually, whereas the Gemara says about actually walking behind a woman, though, this principle of ladies first, as far as walking behind a woman, that is forbidden, because a man should not put himself in the face of temptation. And even if it's his own wife, a man's thoughts should be concentrated on Torah and whatever other needs he has for his daily needs, but a person should not chas v'sholem arouse himself in any way, even with his own wife. And therefore, a person should not walk behind a woman, even in his own wife. So therefore, as far as that is concerned, let's say entering a building or something like that, where it will entail walking behind a woman, a person should not do that. A person should have the man walk first and the woman after. But that in no way denigrates from the man's obligation to honor the woman more than he honors himself, to treat her better than he would treat himself. Okay?
Okay.
Weiter, Vayiven Shom Mizbeach.
Okay, Vayiven Sham Mizbeach. And he built there an altar. Okay. Nit Nabe Sha'atidin Banav Hikashel Sham.
Al Ovoin Ochon.
Oh, because of the sin of Achan.
Right. Here we're talking about Ai, the city of Ai.
Uh-huh.
So it says that Ai was to the east. Okay. Vayiven Shom Mizbeach, he built an altar there, which is in reference to Ai. Vayiven Shom Mizbeach LaHashem, Vayikra b'Shem Hashem. Why did he build? The idea of building an altar was to pray. As the Rad Targum says, Vayikra b'Shem Hashem, V'tzali b'Shmod Hashem. He prayed in the name of Hashem. The idea of praying was, he felt the necessity to pray over here to, Rashi says, V'yispalel Shom Aleim. That's why he prayed for them there, because Baruch Hu should not punish the Jewish people, maybe to the extent he would have otherwise had not Avraham Avinu pleaded on their behalf.
Oh.
Okay?
What? Oh, okay.
Let's end the Pasuk Ches. Pasuk Tes now. Lou.
Vayisa Avram Haloch V'naso'a HaNegba. Avraham
Traveled.
He
Yeah,
traveled.
Avram traveled. Haloich v'nosoya hanegba. Continuously traveling towards the south.
Haloch v'naso'a Lif Rakim Yoshev Kan Chodef O Yoter.
So Rashi is going to explain what this is terminology. Haloich v'nosoya. So Rashi is going to point out that it wasn't a continuous travel, but it was continual, meaning he was in the process of traveling towards the south, but he didn't do it in one shot. He did it in intervals.
At intervals, he would stay here for a month or so. Nosea misham v'noteh ha'achalo b'makom acher. And then he would travel and pitch his tent somewhere else. V'chol masa'av ha'negba, but all his travels were southwards. V'leches lid Roma shel Eretz Yisrael. Going to the south of Eretz Yisrael. V'hi l'chad Yerushalayim. That is the side of Jerusalem. So who?
Towards Yerushalayim. It's interesting, geographically, Yerushalayim is pretty much to the south of Eretz Yisrael.
Really, that's if you don't include a lot. That's the biblical. You're talking about the biblical, correct?
In fact, I'm just trying to work it out. The Gemara says there were 3 Orei Miklot on the east bank of the Jordan and 3 Orei Miklot on the west bank. and they were divided equally, as the Torah prescribes, they were divided equally, that the distance between the middle one to the northern one or the southern one was the same distance as from the northern one to the northern border and the southern one to the southern border. In other words, you divided that Eretz Yisrael in quarters, and the distance, and one was placed at the lowest quarter, the other one was placed at the middle, and the other one was placed at the upper quarter. That's how the Orei Miklat, and they were divided from 3 on one side of the Jordan, 1 on the and 3 on the other. And Shechem was actually considered the middle one. I'm just trying to remember where Rashi mentions what the 3 were on the west bank. Rashi in. It's Russian. I don't remember offhand. Okay, I'll have to. Anyway, Akoponim, it comes out that Yerushalayim was well to the south of Eretz Yisrael.
Well, if you look at a map of Israel, it's in the middle.
Who?
If you look at a map of Israel, it's
Present day Israel, you mean? Present day state of Israel?
exactly.
So exactly, but if you assume, if you understand that the biblical land of Israel ended at about, I can't remember where the map is, I don't have it right here, maybe I just open Google Maps and tell me that. 1 second. See over here, it doesn't have any contours over here. Anyway, basically, biblical Eretz Yisrael ends somewhere around Dimona. There's a certain parallel where the end of the Eretz Yisrael. So if you take into account that Dimona is really about the southern border of Eretz Yisrael, not Elat, and in the north, that the border of Eretz Yisrael extends as far as Tzur into Lebanon, maybe even further north. So you have a different proportion of what Eretz Yisrael was. About half of Lebanon is considered biblical Eretz Yisrael, and about only the northern Negev, basically, so maybe as far south as Dimona, is actually part of Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, if you do that, Yerushalayim is much further to the south. Shechem, which is over here somewhere, Shechem is over here. That is the middle of Eretz Yisrael. Also assuming that the present day Shechem is the same place as the biblical Shechem, which pretty much is so because we know where the Keva of Yosef HaTzadik is. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, Rashi says, "Loleches ledroimo shel Eretz Yisrael." We're to the south of Eretz Yisrael. V'hi letzad Yerushalayim. As to the side of Yerushalayim. Shehi bechelko shel Yehuda, which was in the portion of Yehuda. Shenot lo b'droimo shel Eretz Yisrael. He took possession of the land which is in the south of Eretz Yisrael. Lahar HaMoriah, to the Mount Moriah, Shehi Nachlose, which was the portion of Yehuda. It's interesting, the Gemara says actually that the Beis HaMikdash was partially in the portion of Yehuda and partially in the portion of Binyamin. So Yerushalayim was actually in the border between the tribes of Yehuda and the tribe of Binyamin. Okay, let's continue. Pasuk Yud, Meir.
Okay, Yud. Vayhi Ra'av Ba'aretz. Okay, so there's a famine in the land. Vayered Avram Mitzrayma Lagor Sham Ki Kaved Hara'av Ba'aretz. Okay, so Avram went down to Egypt, Lagor, to live there because of the severity of the famine in the land. Okay.
Okay, so now Rashi's going Ki Kaved Hara'av Ba'aretz. There was the famine was severe in the land.
In the land.
So Rashi's going to point that out.
Okay.
It was only in Eretz Yisrael.
Oh, Be'otah Haaretz Levada. Oh, so
Only in that land.
only in that land. Lit Nasoto. That's to test him. Im Yeharher Achar Devarav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If Yeharher would,
If he would have any, he would question any doubts.
after the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh. So he wanted to test him if he would complain, I guess. Okay. She'amar lo, who told him, Lalechet el Eretz Canaan. Oh, who had told him to go to Canaan. V'akshav Mesi'o Latzeit Mimena. And that now he tells him to leave.
Forcing him. He's actually forcing him
to leave it, to go out.
to leave the land.
If the famine was only in Israel, why does he go to Egypt? Why doesn't he go back to Haran?
Oh, that is a good question. I think the Rishonim asked this question, but it's a very good question.
One might be Egypt is closer to get food.
Could also be the part of his thing is as follows. His father was an idol worshiper, even though he'd moved to Haran.
I thought
So
he did.
Avraham Avinu understood, Lech lecha me'artzecha me'meladecha me'beis avicha. Get as far away as possible from your origins, from your people, your birthplace, place where you grew up, which were all idol worshippers. Get as far away from there as possible. Also, in addition, go to the land which I'm going to show you. So there was two ideas. Leave from where your origins, and in addition, go to the land which I'm going to show you. Now, Avraham Avinu understood now temporarily he's going to have to leave this promised land, but he can still fulfill the first part of going away from his father's house, from his birthplace, whatever, getting as far away from the culture of his in which he grew up. That he could still fulfill, even though Lamaisa, the Egyptians were not something to write about, right? They weren't the greatest of tzaddikim. But nevertheless, this idea that he has to keep far away from his origins, that Avraham Avinu wanted to maintain. Therefore, even if they say that it's just to give you a similar idea. In other words, person necessarily has to leave his home or whatever, goes to learn in yeshiva or something like that, and he's in a totally different environment. And the environment of his home, be it not necessarily anything bad per se, but it's not conducive to him developing his character as a Ben Torah. It's nothing like being inside the confines of the yeshiva. Sometimes it can happen, right, that going home just for Ben Azmanim or something can make him, I'm not saying it's a general thing, a person shouldn't do that, but sometimes it can be that it can cause a regression in his personal development. So therefore, Avram has understood at this point, it's better for me to go someplace else rather than to go home to the folks and everything. Ah, Avram, where have you been? We so much wanted you, maybe you should stay. And whatever, we've all experienced these kind of, should we say, tests. So whatever, Abraham Avinu thought it's best, let's not go back to home. We're not going back to Haran. There are other places we can go to where there's no famine, and we'll be there for a short time and then go back to Eretz Yisrael. Okay? By the way, it's interesting. The Ramban is choilek on Rashi. Rashi understood. Rashi says that there was nothing wrong in Avram Avinu going down to Egypt. That's the implication over here. He realized this is a situation. There's a famine over here. The surrounding countries, there's no famine. So what Hashem requires me to do right now is to go to a place where I will have sustenance, albeit only for a temporary basis. But never, this is what's imposed upon me now. He doesn't say he asked Hashem directly. Avraham Avinu did it off his own bat. The Ramban says actually a chiddush. He said that in this aspect, Avram acted incorrectly. He should have stayed, despite the fact of being a famine. And he says that's why Lamaisa, this whole sign of Sarai being taken by the Egyptian authorities and whatever, that's why it came about. Had he stayed, he wouldn't have been subjected to this Nisoyan. Rather than the sign of not having food. But whatever, Hashem provides food, Hashem would have taken care of him. Okay, I'm just pointing out that there's two different opinions.
What?
Okay.
That doesn't sound right to me because this was one of the 10 tests.
I don't hear you clearly, Lou.
That doesn't sound right to me because this is one of the 10 tests. And we learned that Avram passed all 10 of the tests.
Oh, so, okay, just about the Ramban over here. I can bring it up over here, sorry. What pack are we in your base? There we go. Bam. Yeah, I'll read it out to you. This is, I mean, if it wouldn't be the Ramban, I wouldn't be able to say this. V'da, be aware, ki Avram Avinu chota chet godol bishkoga.
Hi, how are you?
Right, he sinned a great sin, albeit unwittingly. Shehevi ishto atzadekes b'michshol ovay mipnei pachtoi pen yargu. V'hoyo lo liftoach b'Hashem shiyatzeh lo yisov es ishtoi es kol asheloi ki yesh belekim koach la'azor lahatze. Gam yitziose min haaretz nitztav ve'alea v'tchila mibnei harov Oven Ashachoto, Kilekim Barov Yiftenu Mimobes. Kosh Baruch would have redeemed him from famine. Balamaisa Hazeh Nigzar Al Zaro Hagolos Ba'aretz Mitzrayim Biad Paroi Bimkom HaMishpat Shoma Horesha Vachet. And instead of the judgment, that's where there was the wickedness and sin. I mean, it's not my words; it's the Ramban. But okay, this is Ramban's opinion. Okay, let's continue. Okay, Pasuk Yud Aleph. I think Lou's busy on the phone, so maybe you just continue there.
Okay, Yud Aleph. Let's see. Vayihi kasher hikrib lavo Mitzrayma. So it happened when he approached to come to Egypt. Vayomer el Sarai ishto. And he said to his wife Sarai, Hinei na yadati ki isha yifat mar'eh at. Okay, so Hinei here. I know that you are a.
Okay, let's translate the beginning of the verse. Vayihi kasher hikrib lavo Mitzrayim. When he came near to entering Egypt,
right? Okay.
he said to Sarah, his wife,
Okay.
Hine no yodati. Now Rashi is going to dwell on this. It sounds like, behold, now I know. Or it's actually a contradiction in term, because yodati means I have known, or I knew. Hine no, behold, now I have known. So it's a contradiction in terms. Ki isho yefas mareot, that you are a woman of beautiful appearance. Okay, let's see Rashi.
Okay, Rashi. Hinena yadati. Behold, I've known. Okay. Midrash Agada. Okay, so it's a Agadata here. Ad akshav lohi kirba mitoch tzniut sheb'shnehem v'akshav hikirba al yidei maaseh. Okay, so ad akshav, until now, he did not recognize her. Because of sniut, because of modesty.
That means Avram had never seen his wife's, or certainly in light, has actually seen his wife's body. Albeit, obviously, that when they had relations together, it was, as Chazal prescribed, it should be in the Giyus Parsha, that the skin against skin, no garment in between. On the other hand, it was done in pitch darkness. So it comes out that Abraham had never actually seen his wife's body.
Wow. But now, Akshav, he recognized her.
Al Yedei Maisa, by virtue of a certain incident. So it brings down the Tzivsei Chachamim, I think, over here. Right, he brings down in the Tzivsei Chachamim, measures that he saw her reflection in the river. How they say the pshat is they had to cross over a river in order to enter Egypt, and her garments was lifted up, and therefore that's why he needs to see that he saw underneath her garment. But otherwise, he would never have seen her.
Okay.
I
have a problem with this, and that is, a person needs to tell his wife she's beautiful.
So in her facial features, yes.
So he should have looked at her so that he could tell her that she's beautiful.
Yeah, he did so. In her facial features is fine. One's allowed to look at one's facial features of one's wife. That's no problem whatsoever.
What is it that he's realizing?
That she's of beautiful appearance. Her body was a beautiful body.
When they
He
went,
realized that because of her clothing.
Her body was always covered.
But her
Even
body
when even the times
continued
of
to be
religion.
covered in Egypt. So why is that relevant?
Sorry, no. The problem is that he realized that the Egyptians were how do you call it, lustful, and when they find out that this woman is a beautiful woman, they whatever, they wouldn't just rely on the fact that if they see a woman who is possibly beautiful, they would subject her to uncovering herself. That she should show them her beauty. Okay.
okay, Davar Acher, another explanation. Minhag Olam. It's the way of the world.
Way of the world is
Okay. Shayidei Torah Haderek. Because of the burden of the road, the path.
right. Yeah, basically the weariness, the effort taken in
Okay.
traveling.
Uh,
A person becomes disheveled and unkempt.
Okay.
The Zois Omda Beyofia. She remained as beautiful as she always.
Wow.
Okay? Now, that's the thing. Upshuti Mikra.
Okay. Pshuto Shamikra. He
So
named that.
just to clarify what we just said. So he, according to this Davar Acher, he was very well aware of her beauty. He was just surprised that she maintained her beauty on the road.
Yes. He was always aware of her beauty, right? But the Chiddush was over here that she even maintained her beauty despite the how should I say, the hardship of the traveling. She still maintained her beautiful composure is not the right word. Beautiful appearance.
Okay.
Okay. Upshuti Shamikra.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
And the straightforward explanation of the pasuk means, now, Rashi's going to say, means it's two separate phrases. Hinei no. Behold now.
yeah.
The time has come that I've got to concern myself, I've got to worry about your beauty. Because your dati ze yomim rabin ki yefas mareot. I know for many years, for a long time, that you are beautiful. So basically what Avram was saying, according to this explanation, now is the time that I have to concern myself about something which I've known for a long time, i.e. that you are beautiful. And then this is where what you quoted before. We're now coming among black, ugly people, Achayim Shel Kushim, the brothers of the Kushites. They're not used to seeing a beautiful woman. Okay? Now Rashi says another example of this where Hine no and what follows are two separate ideas. The Hine no Adonai Suruno. Behold now my masters. Suruna, turn aside. What that means there was, Lot was saying to the Malachim, now is the time where we have to, a situation where we cannot act as in the regular way because the people of Sodom are going to attack us. So behold now my masters, we have to come up with a solution what to do. So what is the solution? Sooner, go aside over here, go on the quiet, enter my house on the quiet. In this way, the people of the town are not going to attack us. People of Sodom are not going to attack us. Okay? Okay, we'll stop here to be continued Bezat Hashem tomorrow.
Okay,
Very
Yeshkaya.
good. Yeah.
Okay,
Have a great day.
thank you.